Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ilyas from the Department of Education, Hazara University, Mount Sahara. Many research students and junior researchers ask questions related to the possible difference between research approach and research design. Many research theses and research papers refer to research approaches adopted by the researchers and research designs that they have been adopted in those particular research studies. So this presentation is about a brief discussion regarding the possible differences and similarities between research approaches and research designs that are adopted in research studies. So first of all, we'll begin with the general or common sense meaning or dictionary meaning of an approach and a design. The dictionary meaning of an approach is actually a way of dealing with some situation or a way of tackling a problem or issue or a path or direction that someone selects in order to respond to a particular issue or a particular situation or a particular problem. So approach is actually the way we look at a problem, the way we approach a problem, and the way we try to tackle the problem, and the way or the path or direction that we select towards the solution of the problem. A design, on the other hand, is something that represents the structure or pattern of something, or the plan of something, the plan involving the process or the plan of something, the way things are arranged, and the way things are organized, and the way things are sequenced. So as the very name suggests, structuring or patterning is actually designing, is actually structuring or patterning of something. And so organization is involved, arrangement is involved in the process of designing, and sequencing is also involved in the process of designing. And all of these terms and these concepts are interrelated. So this is a general difference between what an approach means and what a design actually means. Now we will move into the more specifics of this particular presentation, and that is the possible difference between a research approach and a research design. So let us see that one now. Research approach actually reflects the researcher's worldview or a paradigm. The way researchers look at social reality, especially when we are talking about social reality in terms of social sciences, in the field of social sciences, such as the phenomenon of education or relationships among social actors. So the particular worldview that the researcher has will be reflected in his research approach. Generally, there are three worldviews identified by researchers, including interpretivism, positivism, and pragmatism. People with an interpretive approach or worldview will adopt a more inductive approach to research problems and the research process. And researchers with a more positivistic approach will adopt deductive methods or deductive approaches to solving problems. And people with pragmatics following the pragmatic school of thought, or those who belong to the pragmatic school of thought, will go for mixed methods. And again, in terms of the specific approaches that are adopted include qualitative approaches and quantitative approaches and mixed methods approaches. And these approaches are actually reflective of or representative of the three paradigms of social reality: interpretivism, positivism, and pragmatism. And again, this is the approach also refers to or represents the questions of what and why questions. So what are the things that are being explored in particular researches will impact the research approach, and the why of or the rationale of the research questions will also be impacted by the research approach that particular researchers adopt. Now, going to the research design. Research designs actually are the frameworks or the outlines of the research process. So in designing the research, the focus actually is on the actual process of the research that is taking place. And so this actually means the various steps that are involved and the various stages of the research process will be represented by the research design of the particular studies. In very particular terms, the methodology is something that will be reflecting the research design of the particular studies. And so the two main or very important aspects of the methodology section will be the when question and the how questions. When actually will be the time or the schedule or the timetable for the research that will take place, and so this will be an important part of the research design. But most important part of the research design will be the how question, which actually means how will the sample be selected, and then how will data be collected, how will the collected data will be analyzed, how will validity and reliability be established, how will ethical considerations be taken care of. So the how questions, the framework that reflects the how questions or the outline of the various steps and stages of the research process will be something that will be reflected in the research design. So in summary, we can say that the research approach is a broader concept which reflects the researcher's philosophy, and also in many cases it will also reflect practical considerations as well. In many cases, a researcher will begin with a belief in a particular paradigm, but that they might find that methodologically speaking, certain things need to be compromised on, or certain thing needs to be mixed, such as in terms of methodology. Certain methodological considerations they might find during the process of research that they are not feasible, so they will have to actually revert to other methodological considerations. And so although they have particular research approaches, because of the practical or pragmatic considerations or needs during the course of the study, they might have to make changes to those particular approaches. Research designs are actually representatives of the research approaches that we take, and they are the practical actually road maps or frameworks or outlines that are included and that represent the research approach that researchers take. And again, to be very specific, methodological considerations, actually the how questions will be things that will be represented in the research design part of the methodology. So I hope this brief presentation might have helped you in kind of finding some difference between research approaches and research designs. But we need to remember that these concepts are in many cases not completely exclusive, and parts of the research approaches are reflecting in the research design part. And also, while we are designing the research methodology or the when and how questions, our approaches impact those research designs. So these are more inclusive rather than exclusive terms, and this categorization is actually aimed at developing understanding regarding these concepts rather than actually showing that they are completely different or opposite of each other. Thank you very much for your time and your attention. If you have more questions, you are welcome to ask those questions in the comment section. Take care. Bye.